Now, coming up, we're going to settle an age-old debate, OK? Is it even a Christmas dinner without a turkey?
Yes, well, I actually have been doing my research and I found out it was a certain king who popularised the turkey at dinner. We'll let you know later on in the show. We're going to be debating this, actually, with a turkey farmer and a vegan. So there you go.
Will it be nut roasts all round this year, or, like in my house, turkey and a rib of beef and some ham? Anything. If it's an animal, I'll eat it. But
Pork
anyway.
scratchings, chicken, whatever you want in Patrick's home.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
Well, stay tuned. This is GB News.
Right, well, Christmas is filled with traditions that vary from home to home, but one thing most people can agree on is that turkey is a must-have.
Yes, at least that used to be the case. But with the rise of veganism in recent years, more Brits than ever are choosing the likes of tofu over turkey.
But can you really call it a traditional Christmas dinner if you're skipping on the bird?
Yes, so we have vegan author Ed Winters, who certainly thinks so, and he's here in the studio with us. Now, Ed, turkey, it's been a tradition, now I've been looking this up, it's been a tradition since Henry VIII decided to swap out his traditional goose for the turkey. We don't want to change that now, do we?
Research.
Well, I mean, traditions and cultures are always they need to be updated because society evolves, morality evolves, what we perceive to be ethical evolves. I mean, thank goodness we don't live with the same moral and ethical code as Henry VIII and people back then. So morality and ethics should always update. And Christmas is a celebration of peace on earth. It's about love. It's about compassion. So how can the mass slaughter of 10 million turkeys and millions more animals be a part of a celebration of love and peace? It seems like the antithesis of such a thing. OK, well, we can bring in now, I think, turkey farmer Paul Kelly, who I don't think could disagree more with that. I mean, is it Christmas dinner without a turkey, Paul?
Well, not for me, certainly not, no. But and certainly, if you don't eat meat, turkey is not for you. That is 110%. But, you know, we've been doing it it's a great tradition. I think it's the centrepiece of the family table at Christmas. And, of course, it's great value. And if you get a great turkey and cook it well, it's beautiful.
Paul, what's wrong with a bit of roast tofu for Christmas?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And of course, if you don't eat meat, all meats aren't for you. But for me, a goose, rib of beef, turkey, I'm a big meat eater. And so I just do love, I love all meat.
What would your message be, Ed? Because what he's saying there is obviously he's got no problem with anyone who's on the old nut roast or something like that. I suppose you really just want everyone to stop eating turkey, don't you? So you're kind of more in the kind of real cancel meat category, I think.
Well, I think cancel's a bit of a loaded word. What I want people to do is make more ethical choices, and undeniably not killing is more ethical than killing. And again, Christmas is about peace. What could be less peaceful than mass slaughter? I mean, slaughterhouses don't sound compassionate. And remember, the main way that turkeys are killed in this country is in gas chambers. Does that sound very peaceful to you?
Go on, Paul.
This is a big debate, isn't it? But, my take on it is, if we weren't meant to eat meat, we wouldn't eat meat. And if those that don't want to eat meat, don't eat meat.
What about dogs? I mean, why don't we eat dogs? I mean, we could eat dogs. People do eat dogs.
They do.
So should we eat dogs?
They do in China. They do in Vietnam. All over the world, they eat dogs. There's lots.
So why don't you eat dogs?
Because it's not for me.
But why not? If we're meant to, why don't you?
Not meant to eat dogs.
Why are we meant to eat turkeys and cows and sheep and lambs then?
Because that's tradition, isn't it? That's what we've done. And protein, meat is a great source of protein.
Well, so is dog meat. Is something ethical just because it's traditional?
Because we don't eat dogs here in the UK, that doesn't not to say it's not ethical.
But
I'm a great believer. We rear our turkeys, and if you rear them the best way you possibly can, you treat them with the utmost respect, and you slaughter them very quickly and very humanely.
So gas chambers are compassionate and respectful?
If you have a look at them, yes, they are. That's a very, 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 very good way of slaughtering them. Yeah, that's
gas chambers are compassionate. Gas chambers are compassionate. Would you like to say that out loud, please?
There's nothing nice about killing any animal, is there?
Right.
I'm not going to say it's not. I don't get off on killing turkeys. Nothing nice about it at all. But given that farming is very clever hunting. Back in the old days, and if you look at nature, I think there's nothing crueler than nature. The way nature kills animals, the way lions hunt down things, we as humans are very compassionate And we do slaughter those animals in a very compassionate way, quickly and humanely.
I suppose that
Nature doesn't do that.
Okay, I suppose that one of the big questions as well around if we stopped eating some animals, then we would not actually have them created in the first place. So there's that kind of decision about, well, is any life better than no life at all, Ed?
Well, I just want to first establish there was a contradiction in what the farmer said. Firstly, he acknowledged that killing animals isn't a nice thing to do, but then he said doing so is compassionate. That's an inherent contradiction. The compassionate thing would be not to do so once we establish that doing so is not a nice thing to do. And to answer your point, just because we bring life into existence doesn't give us the right to harm that life. A parent who has children doesn't have the right to harm those children and beat them just because they wouldn't have been alive without those parents deciding to do so. So what we have is an ethical responsibility over the life that exists, and that means not breeding life into existence with the sole purpose to exploit and slaughter them.
Do you think there's a difference between, Paul, you talk about how you wouldn't eat dogs. Is this about, I guess you wouldn't have a pet turkey, would you? So a dog's a bit different in that way?
Maybe it does.
I have had pet turkeys in the past. Yeah. A dog. Yes, I have. I genuinely have. Dogs. It's not in our culture, is it? We're not dog eaters. But in Vietnam and China, dog is just like chicken.
Okay, Paul. I'll try this. I'll try this one instead. Are you a bit worried about the way things are changing with people's dietary choices? Veganism, vegetarianism on the rise?
No, and I absolutely respect everyone's choices. And is it on the rise? Worldwide, I don't think it is. It seems to be certainly vegan, vegetable protein and alternative proteins. They're not doing as well as everyone expected. There's huge investment coming out of that because people are trying it and aren't really enjoying it. They're doing it, using it as a substitute, and it's not as tasty. And when I said I don't, killing animals isn't a nice thing to do, that's the way we're conditioned as humans, isn't it? It's nothing. But I do absolutely think that we are way more compassionate than nature. The way nature kills and deals with animals, it makes me shudder looking at it sometimes.
But we don't have to kill. So even if you could make that argument, there's another option on the table, which is not to partake in that violence ourselves either. Right. And that's why that's the most ethical option, because we don't have to take part in what nature does. And we also don't have to have slaughterhouses where animals are gassed to death and have their throats cut.
All right, so you mentioned what was on the table there. Paul, I know what's going to be on your table this Christmas. You've made that very, very clear. And Ed, can I just very quickly ask you, what will be on your Christmas dinner this year, Ed?
I mean, the great thing is, the majority for Christmas dinner is already plant-based, from the red cabbage, Brussels sprouts, roast potatoes, parsnips. So I'll have all of that. And then I'm going to personally have a delicious mushroom Wellington with a nice gravy. But you could have a nut roast, a plant-based turkey alternative, whatever it may be. So there are lots of different options available.
Well, both of you, thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, and make sure that you take care. As vegan author Ed Winters there, and Paul Kelly, who is a turkey farmer. So thank you very much, chaps. That's an interesting, spirited debate. I'll be interested to see what it says in the inbox, gbviews@gbnews.com.
Yes, let us know what you think. What do you make of that debate? Whose side do you come down on? Will you be eating turkey tomorrow? Lots of people do swap it out for a different meat, don't they?
Yes,
if not for the nut roast.
Yes, indeed. I feel a little bit awkward in front of Ed talking about what I'm going to have for my Christmas dinner. So we're going to leave that for now. I'll let Ed leave the studio and then we can talk about it when he's gone.
He's not judging you at all.
I think he probably is. Okay, all right.